Hello and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I would like to share with you more of the information I've received from the 25th dimension during my last BQH hypnosis session. I'll be reading from a transcript of the session, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'm speaking of my practitioner who's asking me questions I prepared in advance of the session. And when I refer to me, I'm speaking of myself under hypnosis, which means the answers are coming from the 25th. Before I move forward, I'd like to thank you as always for subscribing, liking, and commenting on this video. It really makes a difference to me. It just makes me happy to see, to have the interaction with you. Sometimes it gets a little lonesome on my end, just staring at the screen. So I love to hear how you guys are doing, or even just stop by and say hi. It's all good for me. All right, I'm gonna start reading here. So Lorrayne. In the Ringing Cedars of Russia, the author speaks of the Vedics, who were supposedly very spiritual people in old Russia with no hierarchical structure. Then the dark went in and started telling some of them that they were special, invested on them the title of prince. And that's when some Vedics started joining the power system, while others went dormant to avoid slaughter until they could wake up again. Is this true, and are they waking up? I don't know if you're familiar with this series of books, Ringing Cedars of Russia. They are outstanding. I love them. I own them all and read them a couple of times. And I wanted to, there was this theme that came up in one of the books, and I wanted to ask about this because it was all very fascinating. The author is using metaphors to explain certain concepts. The Ringing Cedars of Russia are a very fascinating collection of books, and they seem very realistic. Of course, they aren't. Now, there are things that have happened in a certain way or have happened very close to the way that is described. And were there people in history that were that spiritual that he's referring to? Absolutely yes. And basically what he's describing is the fact that we changed reality. We encroached on the reality that we had previously. And of course, there were changes in society, and some people basically, really what he's saying is that everybody joined the new system. It's almost like he's talking about one of the resets, right? And he's saying, but some were corrupted, and some decided, if we want to survive here, we have to go to sleep. And they were chuckling. Really, what is he describing? It's the same situation we have right now, where we believe that some people are sleepers and they need to wake up. And once they wake up, we'll finally be able to change the consciousness level on this planet and have new Earth here. So this is why this series of books is so appealing to people within certain circles, because he very much really presupposes the same beliefs, matrix beliefs, which are, again, there's no criticism here, no judgment, and they're absolutely acceptable. And these are the beliefs everyone has, or most people have, all of us really had within the matrix before we decided to bring in the information about the 25th. So this is absolutely perfectly fine. But yeah, basically it's just describing what seems like a historical format, what we believe we are experiencing from a spiritual perspective now. So no, it's not true in the way that we think of truth, which is this what happened historically on the ground? Some of it is, but some of it is his explanation. It's his interpretation of why certain things happened, or why things look a certain way, or started looking a certain way. So we have the element of hope, which is, yeah, but eventually they will wake up. And so the question is, are they waking up now? Lots of people are waking up, what we consider waking up, in the sense of they're becoming more aware, because people have aligned with different things. But again, everybody's gone now anyway, and we're laughing. There aren't that many of us left. So yeah, really, he's speaking, we're back to speaking of alignment now. Lorrayne. Okay, Claire has a question about death. They say here that it's best not to cry too much about a beloved departed person because we risk keeping them trapped in between lives. Is this just an idea introduced to help people cry less about loved ones that have passed, or is there more behind it? Me. Yes, it's something meant in good faith. It wasn't an idea introduced by the dark. We're basically, again, we're believing. It's a very 3D way of thinking about it, which does not mean we are the only planet or only planets in 3D think of crossing over this way. But the idea is that we cross over and we're in between something, in some suspended state or whatever. And therefore, we have to behave towards these people a certain way. Again, it was meant in good faith, as in, don't cry too much, realize that they're fine. They need to move on. You're actually holding them back. What they're saying is, really, what presupposes this? What's underlying this question is that there is an afterlife. So this is good, right? Now we're saying, okay, life doesn't end here, so it's fine. You're fine. You don't need to cry so much about them. So this is meant in good faith. And of course, at the same time, we always like to introduce the element of fear in things. Like anything that we do would affect the essence, because this is how we believe, correct? I mean, at the level of energy, we believe we can affect energy to where it affects other people. We cannot, unless the other essence obviously is interested in that experience. But so that's what we mean by other planets, very much think of it in between lives as well, because again, until we introduce the knowledge from the 25th, where we say really there is no in between lives, you're just focusing your attention on different things. This is what looks like lives to you, but we're not even here all the time. And they were laughing. We think we're here for this lifetime. We're not even here for most of this lifetime. The body continues its function. But I mean, the essence comes and goes. We're all over the place all the time. But you see, before we introduce all these pieces of information, many of us really, unless you have a completely different view of reality, say you're an atheist and you say, this is it, energy, just recombines itself. And then who knows what I will become next? I might become a rock. Then unless you have that view of life, of course, you would expect that you're in between lives and something strange happens, or something that's different from when you are embodied. And you do that until you do become embodied. So of course, now you're in between lives, you're in a vulnerable state. And therefore, if I do something wrong to you, then you might be stuck in some cycle that you don't want to be stuck in. We already said that's not how it works, unless you want to believe that's how it works. And if that's the case, and absolutely, there's no judgment. Lorrayne, thank you. There is an idea that when someone is meditating, this person is opening up to potential attacks. In fact, when mass meditations are organized, they say things like some expert meditators will be present to protect the group. Why this idea that one is vulnerable while meditating and that protection is needed because negative entities are waiting for us to be more spiritual to take us down? Just like the fact that the lighter we are, the more the dark will go after us. Is any of this true? Or is it the usual wanting to feel special enough to be a target of the dark and therefore more spiritually advanced than others? And the reason I had this question is because there was a global meditation that was done some time ago and I participated in it. And I remember this very vividly, where they were reassuring us that, first of all, telling us really that we're going to be attacked, but also reassuring us that there were expert meditators who were the saintly people, I don't know, that they were going to protect us. Me. All of that, really. We explained this before. We are all on each side playing the game. And so as not even part of the game, but pretty much as foundation for this game, we believe in separation. And we believe, because we believe in separation, that we have to judge other people, because we do. We already said judgment creates the vibration that we believe we have to have in place to maintain this reality. So in that sense, it is necessary. We believe it's necessary. And what comes right after judgment? The fact that if I'm judging you, it means I'm better than you. I must be better than you. I can't judge myself as being less than you, and therefore I must be better than you. And so that's all that's happening in that case as well, which is we are meditating. We are love and light because we are meditating. We are more ascended than you because you don't meditate. They were laughing here. And not only you do meditate, but you haven't done it as long in Earth years as we have, or you haven't done it as many hours as we have in Earth years, in Earth time. And therefore, you're less than me. And therefore, you need protection because you don't know what you're doing. They were laughing again. And when you hear it sound like that, it is pretty funny. Now, we know that the people who say this at a conscious level don't think of it that way. They believe they're protecting you. They believe they're loving on you. They believe they're of the light. We understand this. We are joking. We are being lighthearted about this. But we're also wanting to explain to you really that behind all of this is always how we play the game here. And so this is just another instance of it. And therefore, you're going to see just very plainly, you're going to see the same dynamic that we use throughout life. It doesn't have to be a group meditating or maybe even with a certain type of consciousness of individuals that have a certain type of consciousness. But even when we do play the spiritual game, because this is how hilarious we are only spirit. Only spirit is real. But then we come into these incarnations. And even when we move into our spirituality, we actually focus on the fact that we are spiritual. We're still carrying the game. We're still playing the game. And they were laughing here. So even in that particular situation, you have the exact same dynamic you have everywhere else in society, which is, you know, again, not only separation, judgment, et cetera, but also the fact that you're going to have to improve yourself. You need to meditate a lot longer. Not only, now we're telling you how you need to connect. If you're not meditating, then you cannot possibly be spiritual either, because I know how to be spiritual. I'm spiritual. Therefore, I know how to be spiritual. You don't. You just don't. It's not even your fault. You just don't get it. Or whatever that might be. And again, we're making light of this because we completely understand that we're here to play the game. There is nothing wrong with that. And again, the people, most of the people saying this and participating at this level and playing the game in that way, these are people of the light, and these are people who mean well. But yes, that's all that's going on. The attention seeking, the belief, you know, let's keep the separation going. The fact that they're going to be attacked by the dark because there is an us versus them. All of the elements that we love within the game are brought into a situation like that. And just like in every other situation in life, we bring in everything. These are foundational pieces of the game for us. So of course, we bring them in everywhere we can. I have to tell you, I love this answer. It was very funny. All right, Lorrayne. Yes, we got to keep that good thing going. Yuck. And they were both laughing. Okay, next question. Life on this planet. We rarely get good surprises. Most of life is spent dealing with bad surprises and inconveniences, whether big or small. The rest is only routine. Why? Is it because of negative polarity? Do we want to set this up this way so we would feel not in control, which is the opposite of our true state? Why would anyone want to come back to this again and again, like I did, when it's such a bleak, uninspiring, tedious reality? And Lorrayne added, I agree with that. And me. They were belly laughing. I mean, for a while. It's great. It's great when the 25th gets a good laugh out of me. I don't mind. Yeah, we figured that you would agree 100% because, of course, when Clea was writing that, she thought, oh, Lorrayne has been here a bunch of times too, so she probably agrees, and they were laughing more here. So here's the thing. Yes to both of those explanations that Clea had for it, which is, of course, this is the game. Yes, we did set up the game to work a certain way. However, yes, we also, but let's slow down. We set up the game so that it would feel like certain things would feel real to us, like these inconveniences, whether big or small, for example. We set up the game so that we would be distracted and feel not in control. Yes, that's the whole point of going outside to reality, so you don't remember. You don't think about the fact that you're creating it. None of it is real. At the same time, it's also true the first explanation she had for the state of affairs, which is because of the low vibration. Yes, because other planets are playing the same game that we are, but they don't have the same mishaps and inconveniences, if you want to call it that we have here. Now, we are using these terms because these are the terms that Clea used in the question, you know, as well as we do, that we've had much more than inconveniences here. We have had some very dark events happen, some dark manifestations. And this is something that other planets do not have to deal with. And whenever they get out of range of a balanced polarity, or they even fear that they're going to get out of range, they rush to recalibrate. And of course, once you've done it one time, you become much better at it, and everybody's on the same page. We're not on the same page here when we decided we were trying to recalibrate in the beginning. And again, not because we are a particularly bad planet or because we're particularly bad ourselves. It's just how it's worked out. We were all enjoying, all of us. There wasn't us and them. And we disagreed. All of us were enjoying things, even though they were not as light as they are when we are in range, in a balanced polarity range. We're still enjoying the game, and therefore we kept going, just as simple as that. But yes, all of this happened. Unfortunately, what we are left with is that nobody, truly nobody, doesn't matter how lucky you are or you consider yourself to be from a 3D perspective, nobody has no low vibrational stuff to deal with. It's just the way it is. It's everywhere. This is what it means to live in such a dark polarity or imbalanced polarity as we are. You're going to have all kinds of very low vibrational things that affect you. And of course, we're talking from a 3D perspective. Nothing affects the essence unless the essence wants it. But so yes, absolutely, that's what's happened. Now, the question is, why do we come back again? And they were laughing here. Because we actually, at this point, considering we weren't having fun, we did find it interesting and fascinating. We all do. Everybody within the matrix. The fact of what is happening on this planet, it is so unique. It is so historically important. And so people like us, we wanted to come back. Not everybody's done this, of course, but Claire, for example, has been here from the beginning. She happened to come here in the beginning, and therefore she stayed with it. Again, she's one of the 12,000. So there were others that were called in. They weren't here from the beginning. And now they came to do a job. And nobody, we already said, they are not forced. None of the 12,000 are forced to do that. But of course, because of their interest, they do want to be here. And you know, we deal with what we have to deal with at 3D level. But again, when you look at a lot of what we are experiencing, even at 3D level, compared to what is possible as an experience on this planet, we're not going through this. Claire is not dealing with the dark on a daily basis. Now, it doesn't mean that she's not affected by the dark on a daily basis. It's all around us. Our society pretty much has been set up by the dark. And again, we deal with it. We come into contact with it all the time. Even just, you know, you go online, you're dealing with technology, and there you go. There's dark for you. But we mean in terms of Claire doesn't have to deal with the institutions, for example, bearing on her, or some physical abuse or anything of the kind. So we very well know how much worse it could have been here. So inconveniences are the least thing that can happen here. There isn't a lot of high vibrational stuff happening here. We said this from the beginning. On other planets, though, yes, you absolutely can have great things happen, or what we consider, you know, very positive, because they have better choices. They have better lifestyles. At the end of the day, it's almost like you're going from a place where there's no food, no water, no nothing. And all of a sudden you find yourself, I don't know, at the Ritz somewhere being wined and dined and pampered. I mean, that's the difference we're talking about here. So we agree, and Claire is on it. The explanations she gave, yeah, both of them are very true. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.